Welcome. This video is going to focus on foot health. And our feet don't get enough attention sometimes. And they are a very important part of health for the body, in particular, your back, your pelvic diaphragm, because your feet are diaphragm. So if you go back to my video on breathing in the diaphragms and I talk about a diaphragmatic system, you can include the feet and the hands. Yeah. So our feet are stuck in shoes a lot of the time, or they don't get used in the way that they can be. I mean, our feet are amazing. It's like 26 bones, 27, 26, and like 32 joints. It's a lot. It's meant to have mobility, but then we also want to have strength, this beautiful balance of strength and mobility. So the healthier our feet are, the healthier our body is. Now, I have a pinky ball. I like to use these because they have some give to them. So I'm not a huge fan of doing this on tennis balls or lacrosse balls that are really hard because if it's painful or if your brain interprets that as pain, it'll have the opposite effect. You're not going to relax and get all, juicy. You're going to go, ugh, right? So, I love the pinky balls, and you can get them online. Sometimes you can even find them in like the dollar store, like a play ball. So just something that's got a little softness to it. Um, so you'll need that for this or something. So if you don't have this yet, hold off on it. And I highly recommend getting these. And like if you can, have one at your office if you're sitting a lot during the day or you have to stand. And if you can, on a break, roll your feet out. I recommend that. Or have one nearby at the kitchen table when you're drinking your coffee. Anything that gets you working with your feet. Okay? Now I'm down here because I'm going to stand up and disappear because I want you to have a better view of what we're doing with our feet. Now we're also going to be doing something with that towel. This is going to be a little fascial release and working with the fluids. That is going to be more of the strengthening. I like to release and then strengthen. But if you don't have this yet, you can still do the strengthening, okay? That means you're going to grab a full towel. You could also do it with a yoga block if you have one. So your choice. I'm just using a towel because not everyone has a yoga block, and I pretty much assume that everyone has a towel, yeah? All right, so I'm going to stand up and disappear, but you can still hear me. And I have the chair here so we can hold on to something. Okay, so you can always do this next to a wall because we do want to put a little bit of pressure. So the first thing you're going to do is I call it the smush. So you're just going to smush your foot. Now, how hard you smush is up to you. This might be, a lot of sensory information. So we don't want pain. A little discomfort, that's okay on and off, but we don't want pain, okay? So, and you're in charge of that. You don't have to push down hard if it causes you pain. Notice I'm getting everywhere. I'm trying to get through, that whole bottom of the foot. So my feet, my toes are spreading. I'm going through the arch, inside, outside. You don't have to move around like this. I'm just giving you different views. And down into the heel. So we're working with the fascia here. And fascia is a material in the body. It's very fluid, or we want it to be. And because when it's not, it gets sticky and it can cause some issues. So again, we think of our body very muscular skeletal and, oh, I gotta stretch. But we get a lot more bang for our buck and it feels nicer when we work with our fascia. Yes. And now after the squish, we're going to do the roll. So I want you to imagine someone drew lines on the bottom of your foot from your big toe to your heel, your second toe to your heel, so on and so forth. You're going to put the ball on the big toe. you're going to push down and roll on that line to your heel. No pressure on the way back. Let's do it with the second toe. A little push, roll to your heel, and then no pressure on the way back. You're going to do this with every single one of your toes. And again, you're in charge of how hard you're pressing. No pain, no gain is not true. Only if maybe you're, in the Olympics, but those are professional athletes and they pay for it, And they also have lots of people taking care of themselves, right? They have massage therapists and PTs and all kinds of people. So we want to take care of ourselves. Now, once you do all 5 toes, or however many toes you have, go back and do a few more wherever you may have felt a little bit of extra, I'm going to do one more. Okay. Now, last thing we're going to do, we're going to call this the rinse. So there's a whole method called the melt method that you can check out. I have a roller here that's specifically for the melt method. That's Sue Hitzman's program. And it works with all the fascia, and it's fabulous. So I use some of her material in my sessions with clients, and this is one of them. All right, now, before you go to the other foot, I want you to look down and see if you notice a color difference. Is there more circulation? Now take a walk. What foot would you like to stand on and balance on, right? So what do you notice? I hear words like, oh, my foot feels softer or wider. I can feel the floor more. I feel like it's got more mobility. And then I want you to notice your knee joint, your hip joint on this side. Does it feel different than the other side? So it's a really great exercise to show how everything's connected, right? All right, let's do the other foot before it gets jealous. So we start with the smush, the squish, the squash, just pushing down all over the bottom. Now, I use the word practice a lot because that's what we have to develop for ourselves. If you only do this once, well, your feet are going to kind of return back. But if you do this on a regular basis, you will repattern. And so your feet will hold some of this or a lot of this for longer periods of time. I'm just doing a squish, and you can want to get underneath that ball of the foot. Create a lot of squish and space all over. And just noticing, are there certain parts of your foot that you're like, wow, that's more sensitive, right? That's information. That might be a place where we're stiff or where we don't have as much fluid flow or we're holding tension. If we want more flexibility, like hamstrings, yeah, I should have done reach down and touch your toes before this and after this. You'd see a difference. Yeah. Now, after the squish and smush and squash, whatever you want to call it, now we're going to do the roll. So press down through the big toe and follow that line to your heel. And then no pressure coming back. Second toe, same thing. Do. No pressure coming back. Every toe. Follow it. Pressing as you roll forward. That's why it's nice to have the chair. And then no pressure. Keep on going. It's very rejuvenating. You'll feel like a whole new person. All right, maybe not a whole new person, but definitely new feet. And then do a few more. If you found a spot that you're like, yeah, ooh, that was some extra stuff there. And then the last part of this is rinsing. And this does two things in my mind. One, you're shaking things up. So you're creating vibration and you're getting the fluids to really move around. The other thing you can notice is like how loosey-goosey is my leg, or is it like a Tin Man, right? And then we might want to do a little bit more of the squash and the roll, right? All right. Go ahead and walk around with those feet. Not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. All right. Now we're going to use our chair and our blanket or our towel, and I'm going to lift up so that my head isn't cut off anymore. Move this back. Okay. What we want to do with the towel is, I have a big one here. It's kind of nice and squishy, so, you might need to adjust accordingly. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again, and then you're going to roll it. Roll it, roll it, roll it. So it's like a little burrito. And then we're going to put it down. Okay. We're going to do both feet at the same time, but you can do one foot at a time. I'm just doing both feet for the sake of time. So we want the roundness. I've also done this with a paper towel roll. So we want the roundness, and I'm going to move out sort of to the edges because in the middle it was falling in a little bit. So, and we're going to do some grasping. So we can do this with our hands so we know what we're doing, right? So it's this grasping. I'm not gripping and holding, right? Grasping. So remember our breath, right? We want that in all of our movement. So we're going to take it to the feet. So your toes grasp the front. That's easy, right? Oh, yeah. How about your heels? That's a little different. So see if you can get your heels to grasp and your toes to grasp. And then just let everything kind of wiggle around. And then we're going to do it again. Now, what are we doing? Well, if you look down or you can touch, you've got these little bones on the outside here. We like to call these our ankle bones, right? But our real true ankle bone is in the middle. And see if you can feel like you're trying to pick that bone up. Like a jellyfish, kind of going whoop, and then releasing. And you can wiggle. And a little grasp, and there's a lifting quality. Not a, yeah? Lifting and releasing. Let's do 4 more of these. Grasping. Have that lifting sense and releasing. And you can do this with your hands because your brain will tell your feet, follow this, what your hands are doing. And then releasing. And grasp and lift. And releasing. Let's do 2 more. Grasp and lift. And releasing. Last one. Grasp and lift. And releasing. Now we're going to walk the heels like to the middle. So now our toes can flow over. And then we're going to let the toes lift, and you're going to flow the bottom of your feet up. Think of your foot opening like a flower from the middle. And then flow your feet down, and all the toes go straight down. So just noticing that. And then flowing up. Do they all come up? Can they feel like they spread? Is there any going out or going in? And then we're going to release. If we stand more on the outside of our feet, we're going to send more force up the back of the body. When we stand more on the inside or balanced, and we're going to do this in another video, then we send the energy more up the center, which is really the support place for the body. So let's just do a few more of these. When you flex back, can you soften a little bit? So it's not this hard pullback like reins of a horse. It's just a nice opening of the bottom of the foot and flowing down. Let's do 2 more of these, flowing up. Can you breathe? How about those diaphragms as you do this? What about the beautiful lobes of the lungs? I'm bringing all of our videos in, yeah? Beautiful. Okay, so now let's just move the towel out of the way and we're gonna do a little toe jacks. So you're going to push your big toes down and lift all your other toes up and let that come down. Big toes down, other toes up, and let that come down. Let's do 2 more of these. Big toes down, little toes up, and release. You can do as many of these as you want. We're just doing 4 because you can practice these anywhere, right? And release. Now try to do the opposite. Can you pick your big toes up and keep your other toes down? And release. Let's do that 3 more times. Big toes go up, little toes go down. Are you finding that one of them was easier? Or maybe one foot is easier? Yeah. So we're doing the feet together. If there is a stronger foot, it can help teach. But you can, again, always do this 1 foot at a time. 1 more time, toes go up and the little toes go down. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is toe piano. I am not a prodigy. I just started my toe piano lessons. Now, I don't know if it's because of all the years in pointe shoes, but my toes kind of get stuck together. So you might be a toe piano prodigy and you don't even know it. So what we're going to try to do is lift the feet up and then see if you can put each toe down by itself, right, through your toes. And then can you pick them up 1 at a time? Now here's the cool thing. Even if you find out that you're not a prodigy, right? You're like me. Trying this is giving your brain different information. So you are actually still building mobility and dexterity, even if it's feeling like no way, right? And let's just do 1 more. So a little toe piano, 1 key at a time, or we could call them toe waves. Maybe that's nicer. We can imagine we're at the beach, good. And then just wiggle that out. Another lovely thing to do is just a nice massage of your feet. You know, you don't need a pinky ball. You don't need a towel. You can just do a lovely massage and open up the toes. Think about, you know, your toes are all squished together during the day. We don't do a lot of movement with our foot. We tend to be on these flat surfaces. So that's just a little, you know, sampler, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s of a little foot health. There's so many foot exercises to do. You can find a lot of foot exercises online. You just can't go wrong with moving your feet, okay? All right, good job. So that concludes our feet practice. Thanks for joining me.